In this piece, I want to talk about bridging finance. It's been really the growth area for 2022, and I don't see any of that changing this current year. Demand seems to be increasing. Now, this is a market that's getting more and more competitive. So there really is a misnomer that I want to banish this bit of hearsay that bridging finance is expensive. That is nonsense. As I've said here on my bullet point, the third one down, that interest rates start actually below 0.5% per month. Now, here's where we need to be comparing apples with apples. Because when you think about mortgage rates at 5, 6, and 7%, and I'm quoting 0.5% a month, well, how do you correlate that? So the reason it's done is at 0.5% a month is because bridging finance you may only have for a few months. So hence the lenders quote interest rates in this manner. But a 0.5% probably correlates to around somewhere between 7 and 8%. Sorry, I didn't do the exact maths. But roughly speaking, if you had your bridging finance for a whole year, probably unlikely, then you'd be paying about 7 to 8%. So it's at the top end of a typical buy-to-let mortgage rate. Now, I do want to put a caveat in that this is the starting point. So, do bear in mind that interest rates and bridging finance can increase. So, but there's a lot of advantages with bridging finances, a lot of benefits to it. If you've never had it before, that once you get your bridging finance, you don't pay the interest every month. The lender understands that you're buying a property that is highly unlikely to be income producing. So there's no real mechanism, you've no real money to pay the finance on it. So the bridging finance company says, we get that, we'll charge the interest, we'll calculate it, but we'll put it to one side. And that's the definition of rolling it up, and essentially give you the bill at the end when you're going to pay the bridging finance off. So depending on what your exit is, are you going to sell the property at the end, or are you going to put it into a long-term buy-to-let mortgage, and then you pay off the capital plus the interest at that point. So there's no impact on the cash flow. You can have it up to 2 years. So that is a big project, but it can be anything from 1 month to up to 2 years long. And usually there's about a 50k minimum lend. So, if it's really is a small project and you only want 20, 30k, then maybe bridging finance is not the right tool for that particular job. But why would you want bridging finance? Well, I just want to give you a few ideas on what I see in my brokerage, how landlords are using bridging finance to make more money. And as I said a little earlier, that bridging finance, it really is getting more in demand. I think as the landlord market now is getting more savvy, there's more education out there. You guys are more mature in your thinking, in your experience, and clearly you're looking for more ways to make more profit and to increase your margins. Then I'm seeing that your landlords are starting to look at other maybe projects that you might have given a bit of a wide berth to in the past, but now like I say, you've got the confidence to take these on. And these are just a few examples that we're seeing in our office. So maybe you're looking to buy a property, but it's not actually mortgageable at the point of purchase, meaning it's not lettable from the day you get the keys, because that's pretty much the definition to get a normal traditional buy-to-let mortgage, that property, other than a coat of paint and new carpets, it's got to be good to go, ready to be let, and there's a rental income coming in that's going to pay the finance. If that's not the case, it needs more than cosmetic work. It needs, let's say there's no kitchen in it, there's no heating in it, there's a hole in the roof, it's not watertight, it's not been lived in for years, then this is where bridging is perfect to allow you to buy it at a really good price and then get that work done maybe in a few weeks or a couple of months, and then pay the bridging off. And if you're going to keep that and add it to your portfolio, then get a normal mortgage on it. Perhaps you are looking to sell a property that's going to finance this purchase, but there's delays in the sale of your property. Again, perfect for bridging to come in, give you the money to allow you to purchase it, secure that fantastic property at a great price. And then when your property does sell, maybe a few months later down the line, you can pay the bridging off there. Auction purchases. Again, we're seeing more and more demand from your landlords that are now looking further afield. Again, you wouldn't have looked at auction houses previously. Now seeing more of you landlords looking at auction houses to buy the next property. And because of the nature of how auctions work, not the modern style of auctions that do lend themselves to getting what we call normal buy-to-let mortgages, but the traditional where at the hammer you have to exchange contracts and you've maybe got 14 to 28 days, then again, bridging finance can be the mechanism to allow you to secure that property. Last two, the development. So again, if you're buying something that needs significant work, we have a number of our landlords that are buying, for example, something that needs structural work. You're buying something that was a buy-to-let, and now you're going to convert it to a HMO, or you're going to put an extension on there. It's going to go from a 3 to a 5, 4 to a 6 bedroom property. It might be that you're adding more living space. You might be converting the attic, the basement. Anything that requires significant works, then it might be difficult to get a traditional buy-to-let mortgage at the point of purchase. Brilliant, get the bridging in for the months, you do the maths. We as brokers will give you all the finances. You know that then you're building that cost into your costing mechanism. You know that you've still got the profit in there. Then why wouldn't you do it? The last one, again, that we're seeing more and more of, probably on a weekly basis now, is you landlords that are buying where there's a conversion required. And in this context, I've said here as an example, commercial to residential. So a couple of examples might be, as we know, a lot of the high streets, retail with online shopping being more prevalent. Of course, there's a lot of retail shops going out of business. So there's a lot of asset here in the towns and cities that are under permitted development now are allowed to convert to residential dwellings. So we're seeing a lot more landlords come to us with that type of project. Or equally on the holiday let front, we've got landlords that are buying care homes, guest house, B&Bs, that type of commercial. And again, there's a conversion period to bring it into fit for purpose for holiday lets. And there's also highly likely to be planning changes, as there is in my previous example. And when that's the case, it can be, not always, but it can be very difficult to get a long-term mortgage at the point of purchase. So again, two-stop strategy, get your bridging in place and then move across to a long-term finance. So bridging can be a fantastic vehicle to allow you to get into more properties that have got bigger profit margins, which means you can still be making money out of property in 2023. If you want to talk to us about anything to do with bridging, there'll be a link to our diary. Do book on at your convenience. We are available through the days, through the evening. Book a slot for 30 minutes and we'll be able to give you our expertise and time on whatever scenario or project you're looking to do, and we'll be obviously delighted to help.